November 19th is actually a very symbolic day for Puerto Rico because today represents a day of colonialism and resistance. And it's in correlation with these two historic figures, Christopher Columbus and Lolita Lebron. Because on November 19th of 1493 was the arrival of Columbus to Puerto Rico. A day a lot of people would celebrate because it's the discovery of a new land, but then others would recognize this day as the beginning of a genocide towards the indigenous peoples. But at the end of the day, it's a day that represents colonialism. Because it was on this day 4th, the land that we know as Borinquen was given the new name Puerto Rico under Spanish colonialism, giving birth to a new identity known as Puerto Ricans. And 375 years later, the Grito of Lares took place, Puerto Rico's cry for independence against Spain. This was a revolution that took place in the town of Lares, Puerto Rico. This day is very symbolic to a lot of Puerto Ricans because it is a day of resistance towards the colonial oppressor. Now, in that very same town, 52 years after the revolution, this historical figure was born on November 19th of 1920. Now, by 1920, Puerto Rico was under the control of USA because Spain signed it over to USA after the Spanish-American War, falling immediately from one political tyrant to another, giving birth to a new era of resistant fighters. Lolita Lebron was one of many independence movement leaders, and one of her biggest contributions to the resistance was an attack she led in Washington, D.C. of 1954.
In Washington, scenes of confusion naturally followed news of the shooting outrage. The 5 representatives injured in the affray were rushed to hospital. The assailants were Puerto Ricans, led by this woman, Mrs. Lolita Lebron, said to have shouted, "Free Puerto Rico."
The purpose of her attack was a representation for the liberation of Puerto Rico. And she made it very clear that day. She said, "I did not come to kill nobody, I came to die for Puerto Rico." In many people's eyes, she would be considered a hero, and in others would be considered a terrorist. Just like the way a lot of people want to celebrate Christopher Columbus for discovering new land, others would consider him a genocidal maniac for the killings of the Taino people. Ideology of what it means to be a hero is often subjective to fit one's narrative. So with November 19th being a historical day, with the arrival of Columbus to the land of Borinquen, along with the birth of Puerto Rico's symbol for independence, I will end this video with asking you this question. How do these historical figures symbolize the complex relationship between colonialism and resistance? I'll be checking the comments. Peace!
No hay odio. No hay nada, solamente lo que hay es el derecho y el deber de un pueblo a ser libre y nada trabajará aquí. Nada más que la liberación total y plena del pueblo de Puerto Rico. Muchas gracias.